Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today I'm excited. We're going to do something a little different. My top 10 items to sell on eBay. Now, this is my personal list. When I decide on what to buy for eBay, I'm always thinking, what is something that people can't get anywhere else? They can't go to Walmart. They can't go to the dollar store. They can't, even Amazon or other platforms, what have you. It's harder to find them anywhere else but eBay. So that's why I do a lot of vintage things, and I love vintage, so it just works out. Another factor is size. I try to get things that ship easy. Now, not always, of course. If there's a bigger item that I know will flip really well, I'll get that too. But I prefer to get smaller items, they're just easier. I really like getting items that I enjoy sourcing. I want to have fun with this, You might hear a lot of sellers talk about being successful and really picking up the very high sell-through rate items and such, and nothing wrong with that. You do you, but for me, I want to enjoy it. I want to find high sell-through items, but I also want to find stuff that might sit around a little bit because, hey, that's okay. I guess you could call my eBay shop more of a long tail item shop, because I don't really mind about that. It's kind of a mix between long tail and short tail. Is that a word? Items that flip quicker. So I don't mind a collection of different items. And I'm also not all about getting rich. My biggest goal is just to be comfortable, to eventually be able to buy a nice house for me and my family, and to have extra money to go on vacations and such, just a comfortable living. And I know all that's attainable with reselling. Hard work is a definite, but it can be fun work. And that's why I typically choose certain items over other items, depending on the situation. Along the way, you learn things you prefer to sell and other things you definitely don't prefer to sell. Your area probably has specific things that are easier to source than others, and that's always important to learn as well. So guys, let's get into this. I'm excited. I'm Jules, the full-time flipper, the single mama, the one-woman show, here to share and have fun and learn along the way, guys. My eBay top 10 items. Items that have sold so far today. I'll show you them because they're really small and easy to ship, which is awesome. Right here, this is 5 different items. Okay, and I will show you them when I go over the category they're in, because each of them are in one of my categories today. So we'll share that. Now I'm going to do number 1 and get it over with, because if you're a frequent flyer here, I like to sell jewelry. That's got to be my number 1. Jewelry is awesome. It's small, easy to ship. I think pretty easy to photograph. You can find gems. It's like treasure hunting for real. When you do jewelry, you just never know what you might find. You can get things really inexpensive. It's really fun. So here's a jewelry item that sold today. And this isn't even vintage, guys. This is, or maybe it is. It might be like Y2K vintage, but not like real old. It's a Brighton necklace with some charms on the bottom. My mom actually gave me this a while back. She just didn't want it. And it has the little Brighton doodad here. All right, it's kind of hard to see, but that little heart has a B on it. It's a little faded with this necklace, but that's for Brighton. And you'll learn along the way, if you haven't done jewelry or you're getting into jewelry, that a lot of the better selling pieces will be signed, or of course could be even gold or silver. So it's all a big learning process, but really fun to learn, I think. So a nice little necklace, free to me, and it sold for $24 plus shipping. So good sale. All right, and I also sold these clip-on earrings. Yes, people will still buy clip-on earrings. I remember thinking that was kind of wild when I first started. These are Renner, like kind of brassy copper tone clip-on earrings. I've had them for a while, definitely. But here's the signature on these. These are signed right on the back there on the little clippies. And these sold for $10 plus shipping. Very bread and butter. And I've had them a while. So yeah, jewelry's like that though. Some pieces are really in demand and some pieces are gonna sit a while. The more you sell it, the more you just learn what's good and what's not. With it being so small and easy to ship, easy to store, you don't really mind keeping it a while, It's not taking up much real estate, which I really like. So jewelry, definitely, guys. If you haven't got into jewelry yet, I definitely recommend. Awesome, awesome. Right, number 2 on the list, I have purses wallets. Let's see, I wrote down a list, and this is all number 2. This is just a jumbled category I made. Purses, scarves, wallets, hats. And I sold 2 wallets today so far. This was nice. These are definitely a Y2K. Had them for a while. Look at, they're corduroy. Well, this one has corduroy on the back. This one doesn't. But they're both the same brand, and the same buyer bought both of them. Durango Threadworks is the brand. They are a very obscure brand from Colorado back in the day, and they made some really cool like bags and wallets and other stuff. And I think both of these sold for around $30 because I had them around $15 a piece to the same buyer from Colorado, of course, which is really cool. So love this kind of stuff because it's small and easy to ship. And of course, with all these items, some will be bread and butter, some will be high end. You just never know what you're gonna find. But I'm okay with that. And in this category, when I say hats, I like to pick up like old vintage wool hats. I love newsboy like cabbie hats and stuff like that. A lot of sellers go after the old sports baseball caps and trucker hats and stuff like that, which can be really good too. And I will pick up stuff like that if I find it out and about, but I find them less commonly, maybe because they're more sought after. I'm not really sure. Purses I really like to find. You just gotta be careful that they're in good condition, really look them in and out. Make sure there's not a lot of pilling, you know, where the leather or faux leather or whatever is coming off the handles. You gotta be careful because when I first started reselling, I picked up a couple doozies, you know. I wasn't really paying attention closely enough until you get home and you're like, what in the world? So yeah, just be careful. I just actually made a short about scarves. Scarves can be great. You can find expensive designer scarves. I'll share one that just sold. That was an Alexander McQueen scarf. It sold for over $100. Yeah, so that was amazing. And of course, a lot of times I will just say right now, I go into the thrift store and the scarf section looks like my bedroom when I was a teenager, you know, it looks like a mess. What am I kidding? My bedroom still is not the cleanest. I can be a bit of a pack rat. My bedroom is always the last place in the house to get cleaned, you know. Off subject here, the scarf section in some thrift stores can be like scary, you know. Stuff that doesn't look good at all, that's falling apart, threads hanging out, looks cheap. That's why you gotta dig, guys. You gotta dig and you gotta look every time you go in to see what they got. And be patient with it because it can be a bit daunting. Okay, number 3 is craft things. I love crafts, they're fun. I love finding the really rare and vintage stuff. And actually one of my sales is in the crafty category, I'd say. And look at, the top isn't looking good, guys, because it's open, but it's a strawberry shortcake. And this is the like Y2K strawberry shortcake, which is popular as well, just to let you know. Yeah, but I've had this for a while, you know. It is open. I don't think it's complete. Let me see what's in here. This just sold, you know, Valentine's Day coming up, for $10 plus shipping. So this wasn't an amazing sale, but hey, I think I paid $1/4 for this, you know. See? Oh, and there's stickers in here too, which is nice. But look at, yeah, some of them are missing. So it's not complete. So for a not complete Valentine kit, that's not bad. $10 plus shipping. And heck, if you're out there and you find any Lisa Frank Valentines, oh my Lord. Whoo, yeah, any kind of old Valentines can do well. What else do I have wrote down here? Okay, I have stationery, needlepoint kits. Whoo, some of them can be really big money. Fabric can be really big money. And I put etc. Some of the old like Betsy Clark stationery can do really well, like old Hallmark stationery. I find it really fun to look through and you just never know what you might find. And another one is stickers. Some old stickers like Sandy Lion stickers can do really well. Hey guys, just popping in some sold comps of scratch and sniff stickers. I did forget to mention them. Yeah, these are wild. I still can't believe some of them sell for this much. Check them out. So definitely a good category. Number 3, crafts. Ooh, okay, I'm getting hot, guys. That's why I kind of pulled my hair back a little if you're wondering. Number 4, religious items. I am telling you, it was a shocker to me, and it still kind of is. I don't know, just some of the stuff, the prices they go for, wild. Bibles, rosaries, decor, nativity sets. Yes, when I first started, I could not believe the price that some Bibles go for. Like old Bibles that people can't get anymore, rare Bibles, even the newer Bibles, you know, a lot of them could be worth quite a bit of money. I've shared before, but I think my biggest selling Bible was around $200. It was just an old Bible, nothing special about it. I didn't even think until I looked it up and I'm like, oh Lord, okay, it's just rare, I guess. So yeah, definitely keep a lookout for Bibles, rosaries, Catholic things, Virgin Mary statues, things like that, wall plaques, nativity sets, definitely bolo, the whole category bolo. All right, number 5, I have decor. Okay. What I got is art, pottery, trinkets, embroidery, anything advertising, Halloween, Christmas, brass, and this is another item I sold. I'll show you guys. I just bought this like 2 days ago. Miller High Life, and isn't this neat? A lot of beer stuff can do crazy good, which I'm sure a lot of y'all know. It's just collectible man cave stuff. Whew, yeah. Big collector base. Big, big, big. Miller High Life. And as you can see, it's a small tin. It does have a little bit of rust. And on the back, tells a little about it. Oh, did I just have that upside down? There you go. 1989 this is from. Yep. Limited edition 1989. So I seen this at a thrift store the other day and it was $5. And I didn't even look it up. For $5, I thought, you know what? Yeah, that's really cool. I like the witch. It's a beer item and I could see somebody wanting that. So it sold in like 2 days for $24 something plus shipping. So yeah, a lot of advertising stuff can do really well. Vintage advertising things, those old advertising thermometers people hang on the wall, those can be crazy money. Miniature art, miniature cross stitch, things like that are really trendy right now, I noticed. Yeah, even trinkets. You go to the thrift store and there's like all these like trinkets everywhere, and a lot of them are not great at all. But if you know what to look for, you can find some really good ones, some really, really good trinkets. Pottery, definitely a lot of pottery, especially if it's signed. A lot of artisan made pottery has followings, so that's definitely always good to pick up when you can find it. And of course, brass. I'm always picking up brass stuff because it sells. I don't really know why. It's just in, guys. So if it's brass, definitely look it up. So yes, on to number 6. Number 6 is belts. And I also put belts and belt buckles. And also, I guess this could be considered a jewelry item, but I put it in here, bolo ties. You know, bolo ties with the little, you know, like the Western with the that's one that kind of surprised me, but a lot of jewelry makers and artisans make bolo ties too, and people collect them, so it definitely has a collector base. One thing I was going to mention is when you find something, it can be something you think is so cool and so pretty and da-da-da, whatever, it's just like it really floats your boat. But if there is not a collector base for it or someone out there looking for it, it's probably not going to do well. There has to be an actual demand for the item. Just something to keep in mind. But belts, yes, easy to ship, easy to photograph. A lot of them aren't going to be great, but you're going to find the diamonds in the rough, I'm telling you. Nice leather belts, nice old told belts. And with the belt buckles, oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about, like the fancy Western belt buckles. And belts also are often marked up, I noticed, so usually a good thing to find. Belts, belt buckles, and bolo ties. Oh, BBB, I just noticed that. Belts, belt buckles, and bolo ties. Okay, number 6. All right, number 7, we have toys. Vintage toys specifically, usually. This is one of my favorite categories. I wish I could find more toys. I don't know why. I used to be able to find way more toys than I do now, but I still look out for them. I love Barbie and Barbie clothes because the old stuff can do really well. Old action figures. Let's see, what did I write down? Oh yeah, Fisher Price stuff, Little People stuff, G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtle. There's so much. Polly Pocket things, those little Polly Pockets, they can do really well. There's a lot of collectors for toys. You can find a tiny little something and it can be worth like $100. Also, when you can find a collection of anything, it's usually good. Like even more modern figures. Like I believe yesterday I just sold a set of Peppa Pig figures because I had a bunch of them. Put them in the lot and you're gonna get a decent price for them. So if you ever find like a collection of any kind of toys, definitely look them up because you never know, there could be a good collector base there willing to pay for them. So definitely a good one. Toys, love them. Number 8 is one of my favorite ones too. Linens. Whew, I love linens, guys. They can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but I really do like them. What do I have wrote down here? Sheets, tablecloths, baby blankets, quilts, loveys, and I put French lace because one of my biggest linen sales I ever had was this old French lace tablecloth. I didn't even know what it was at first, but I could tell it was like really well made. And I forget the name. I think it had a name for the lace. If I figure it out, I'll put it up here for you guys. But I found a little tag on the tablecloth that said made in France. And I don't know why, guys. Be on the lookout for anything and everything that's made in France because most of it can do really well. I believe it sold for around $300. I forget the exact price. It was just a lot and I couldn't believe it. It took a while to sell, but it did eventually sell for that much. And I was like, I was dumbfounded. It was beautiful though, I will say. Yeah, sheets, like old character sheets, like from Disney characters from back in the day. Even if you find pillowcases, like Snoopy pillowcases, different characters like that, they can sell for 15-20 bucks just for a pillowcase, and those are so easy to ship. I love finding them. Quilts, whew, that's a whole nother category. There's a lot to learn with quilts, but I love finding quilts at a good price. Old quilts, some of them can sell for hundreds of dollars. I don't think I've ever found a quilt that has sold for that much. I haven't been that lucky yet, but someday I will. By golly, I hope so anyhow. Oh, and I was gonna mention granny square blankets. Those used to be so in, and I would like literally, I was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jingle All the Way, man. I was like, every time.
Wait, lady, I need the Turbo Man.
Turbo Man style, man, for that thing. But nowadays, it's like not as trendy as it was like a year or so ago. And yeah, I have one right here actually. This is a granny square throw. Like a little throw I have on the back of my chair here. So yeah, I still really like them. They're cute as heck, you know. But I don't pick them up as much unless I can find them for a really good price and they're really well done. Yeah, you know, they're still not a horrible pickup, but they're not as in as they were a while back. Seems like a lot of, you know, items have their day in the sun, and then there's some like evergreen. They say, you know, evergreen items are items that usually sell all the time because they're just awesome and people are looking for them. So those are always cool too. Okay, number 9, guys. Number 9, specifically I have jackets and coats. Okay, around that time of year when they're coming out with all that stuff at the thrift store, always good. You know, I love finding coats because people will pay up for them. Carhartt coats, oh Lord, there's like a whole thing going on there. Right now they're really trendy. The vintage ones can sell for hundreds of dollars. Y2K style coats, those are still trending. LL Bean is always a good brand and a lot of stuff, but their coats can do really well. And Ralph Lauren, as I always say, is always a good brand to find. There's a lot of brands that are a little more common to find, I've noticed, that are like mid-range. You know, they're not super high-end and they're not like low-end. They're like in the middle, and they sell well because they're quality made and people, you know, look for them. Definitely always good to look out for jackets because you can usually make a lot of profit on them. And I did add in with this wool sweaters, like old sweaters, like cardigans, wool especially. A lot of them can do really well too. The vintage ones, I always look for them, and they're kind of easier to spot, I think, when you're looking down, you know, a clothing line at the thrift store. And the wool ones sometimes to me kind of stand out a little bit, you know. I struggle sourcing clothes because I think it bores me a little. I don't know, I have a short attention span sometimes, and I'll flip through them, but you know, it's like after a while, I'm like, okay, I can't look anymore. I gotta go do something else. But I do love finding old, cool clothing, vintage pieces, all that stuff. But I did put down specifically coats because they do so well and usually can make so much profit selling them. So definitely coats. Okay, number 10, the last one here, last but not least, guys, handmade anything. Okay, now not anything, but hear me out. I put handmade, artisan made, quality items. Like we're talking jewelry, art, pottery, linens, like quilts, etc. If it's handmade and it's well done, someone's gonna want it. I have learned that. It doesn't even always have to be a super popular artisan. If it's done well, people will be able to tell, you know. That's why I hear a lot of resellers say the odd sells, like weird odd stuff sells, which I totally agree. That's definitely a thing. So I feel like when people are on eBay looking for like maybe one of a kind items, maybe gift ideas, or just something that they wouldn't be able to find anywhere else, that kind of stuff draws them in. If you find it out there and you can just tell the quality's there, grab it, especially at a good price, of course. So number 10, handmade, artisan made. All right, guys, that concludes my top 10 eBay items to sell list. I hope you all enjoyed the video and maybe learned something new. If you watched the whole video and enjoyed, and you don't mind giving me a little like and maybe subscribing, that totally helps me and my channel grow, and I definitely appreciate it. So y'all, I hope you are all doing well. If you have something that's your favorite item to sell and I haven't mentioned it, go ahead and share in the comments. All right, guys, I gotta go pack my items and head down to the post office and get her done. So I hope you all have a good one. And as always, happy hunting out there. Toodaloo.